What is up, football fans? Welcome into a live edition of XFL Chalk Talk, the show where we go beyond the box score. Thank you to everybody who's joining us on YouTube Live. We have a lot of news going on, guys, in the XFL right now. A lot to cover tonight. A little bit, yeah. Heading into week 4. We obviously have the Quinton Flowers news, which we'll get to in a minute. We have some transactions. We have some retirements. A lot going on in Dallas right now. We have injuries in LA and New York. So there's a lot to get to. But let's first start with the fact that I feel like crap tonight. I didn't even realize, guys, till we got on camera. I was like, oh my God, my nose is like so red. It looks like I just did a line or something in the bathroom before the show.
Jesus, Riley.
Not that I don't do that, obviously. I don't do that, obviously.
Make sure you wash your hand.
I've been blowing my nose all freaking day, man. I don't know what it is, but I know. Oh, I do know what it is. It's having 2 kids under 3 years old.
3 years
is
old.
What it is. Because and parents out there, dads, moms, whoever's watching, if you're a parent, you know what I'm saying. Like, if the second one of your kids or your kid gets sick, you know you're screwed. It's only a matter of time. So our little 8-month-old got sick this past week, and I just knew it was only a matter of time before I got it. 32 has not been kind to me so far this year. I turned 32 in January. I freaking threw out my back after week 1. My back is broken, Gless.
My back is
spinal.
And now I'm freaking blowing my nose. I can barely breathe. I probably sound nasally, so my apologies. If I suck tonight, I'm really...
Somebody in the chat, Riley, said you look like Jim Zorn.
What? That's the first I've heard of that.
That's funny.
I've heard Ryan Gosling before, but not Jim Zorn.
Someone said Riley doesn't like cocaine. He just likes the way it smells.
I like the way it smells. Well,
that's funny.
People who know me know I do have a Coke problem, but it's Coca-Cola, not cocaine. That's what I'm drinking constantly here, Coke Zero. So if I have a Coke problem, it's Coca-Cola. So don't worry about it. I'm just not feeling very good. That's all.
For everybody who's watching out there, you will never meet somebody who likes Coca-Cola more than Riley Bradshaw. I've been in the car with Riley on the way to go do like errands and just hanging out. He's like, "Hold on, man, I got to stop by Wawa. I got to get a Coke or something." I was like, "What is wrong with you?"
You know it's bad when the workers at the convenience store know your name by heart. You just walk in and like, "Hey, Riley, what's up? What are you up to?" And I'll sit there and have like 10-minute conversations with them. Oftentimes I'll get a free drink. So it's all about relationship building. It's about networking if you want free soda. Yeah, so apologies if I sound like crap tonight. I'm really hoping that Kenny and Gless can pick up the slack and carry the show, which I'm so confident that they will do.
We got
and a lot of people have been asking about Pastel more and more recently because he's just vanished. He's disappeared. Kenny, when is he coming back? Is he coming back next week or the week after?
So I'm pretty sure he flies back in this Sunday, I think. I for sure know it's either this weekend or this coming week he'll be back. I don't know if he'll be back when we film our early stuff in the week, but I'm almost 100% sure he'll be back and be able to film with us later in the week.
Okay, because we're having some fans start to, throw their hat in the ring, saying, "Well, if he's not going to come back,
I saw that.
I'll step in. I'll be your fourth for XFL Chalk Talk." I was like, "I'll put you in the Rolodex."
The fans miss the ridiculous hot takes. That's what it is. I mean, we have 3 great ones here, and then Pastel will come in and say something that's just
coming
insane.
in from the top row. Yeah, no, I talked to Lexi. I talked to Lexi the other day, and I'm pretty sure that's
Pastel's girlfriend, by the way.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure she's picking up his dog and heading south this weekend. So I think he'll be back pretty soon.
We need to put a poll. I'm going to put a poll on the YouTube community page after this show. Do you miss Pastel's crazy hot takes? So make sure you participate in that and follow us at XFL Chalk Talk on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course YouTube. Thank you to everybody. More and more people are piling in. So let's go ahead and get into it, guys, because there's a ton to get into. Tampa. Holy crap. It's just like it's
your
like
boys, Riley.
It's like they finally have something positive to talk about with Tampa Bay. Yeah, sure, they lost to Houston, but Houston right now is the best team in the league, and they played well for most of that game. They had an opportunity to win, Quinton Flowers scores the first ever offensive touchdown for the Tampa Bay Vipers, and it may be his only one because reports are coming out of Tampa Bay that it's all over the place depending on where you read it.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to speculate too much, but it's pretty firm that right now he's not with the team. And then there's reports out there that he's requested his release from the team.
Wow.
Trestman spoke to the media, I think, yesterday afternoon, and he said that he's left for personal reasons, and they hope to have him back, and they're going to welcome him back with open arms. So there's a lot of speculation about there what's going on with Quinton Flowers, but all I know is if he's not with the team, that's not good because he's been the one quarterback that I know everyone, like the fans have this fascination with Quinton Flowers. Like everybody wants to see him get a shot, and I do too. But it seems like Trestman is, he's fixated on giving Taylor Cornelius the bulk of the snaps. I don't think Quinton Flowers played a snap in the second half versus Houston, and that may have rubbed him the wrong way. I'm not, I don't know this for sure, but rumors are out there that he is not happy with his role, which you can't really blame him because what is his role? What is any of these quarterbacks' roles? I mean, there's no consistency whatsoever with the quarterback position for Tampa Bay. Aaron Murray's coming back, but it sounds like Taylor Cornelius is getting the start. So it just seems like a messy situation, Kenny, is getting even messier in Tampa.
Yeah, it's not good. That's for sure. I mean, it's definitely a lot of dysfunction going on. And anytime there's dysfunction, that breeds more dysfunction, and eventually just snowballs into either losing the locker room or losing the team, or the team's no longer as tight-knit as they were prior to the season. So it's very tough because I kind of get where Trestman's coming from because personally I don't think, in my opinion, Quinton Flowers should be the full-time starter. I don't think he's good enough to be the full-time starter, but neither is Taylor Cornelius. So they're in this
that's
spot.
the thing.
Yeah, they're in this spot where they don't have a quarterback, and so it's just this three-headed monster of mediocre quarterbacks, in my opinion. So there's really no right answer. It's just a bad situation.
Yeah, to me, it just stinks of dysfunction in the locker room, and especially in that quarterback room. I would have to think that Trestman and Flowers just frankly don't see eye to eye on a lot of stuff. Yeah. And, he's growing increasingly frustrated with his role. I mean, to me, I was stunned, and absolutely floored. He didn't get a snap in the second half after going in for 3 series, scoring the first offensive touchdown in Vipers history, and really moving the ball and was quite efficient.
Doesn't it seem like Les the only quarterback? Doesn't it seem like the only quarterback through the first 3 games that's had any type of momentum with the offense? Rhythm has been Quinton Flowers.
A lot of rhythm.
In fact, Cornelius had a few drives against Houston where he led them down the field and they scored. So he had some rhythm too. I don't want to make it seem like it was fully it was just Flowers put on a show because Cornelius didn't play that bad on Sunday. I mean, we talk about he didn't play a snap in the second half, yet Cornelius still kept him in the game. It's not like they lost by multiple scores.
Yeah, let me read these stats real quick from last week. Cornelius went 16 for 31, 52%. 193 yards. That's not good. 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Flowers 4 for 6, 51 yards. No touchdowns, but he did have that rushing touchdown. Cornelius actually ran for more yards than Flowers.
Yeah,
33 to 29. But Flowers. Oh, they both had a rushing touchdown. I forgot about Cornelius's rushing touchdown.
Cornelius quarterback sneak.
Cornelius didn't play bad. I mean, he wasn't great by any means, but he didn't play bad. Against Houston, he played well. He played okay. I think he played just about as well as Flowers did. Flowers just had a little bit smaller of a sample size, in my opinion.
I'm curious if he didn't go into Trestman's office and look, I'm not being used. I want to play quarterback, and Trestman basically said, sorry, Murray's our guy. When Murray's not in there, just did with Cornelius. I'm surprised he didn't demand a trade.
But Murray's not their guy. They're starting Cornelius this week, and Murray's been
practicing. That tells me Murray's not completely healthy either. Yeah. I think 100% Aaron Murray starts over Taylor Cornelius. But I'm curious if he went in there and basically kind of made an ultimatum, and Trestman said, "We're not trading you," and he said, "That's fine. I just won't play for you," and he just walked. Yeah. That's what I think would happen because there's, there are teams that could certainly use Quinton Flowers. I mean, he's a dynamic athlete. They tried to use him that way in week 1, and they just didn't like they just couldn't get anything going. And I was really surprised that they didn't utilize some packages in week 3 like that as well. My guess is because he was the backup quarterback and didn't want him to get hurt if something happened to Taylor Cornelius. So
good point, Glass.
It's interesting. Yeah, it's probably why they didn't use him like that in week 3.
You know what's funny is Kenny was trolling me on the Discord earlier about, was it yesterday? I can't remember. I'm on too many medications right now. I don't know. The days are all blended together. But Kenny was on the Discord trolling me about my preseason players to watch or X factors.
That was
Quinton Flowers. Yeah, Quinton Flowers was my X factor, and I made fun of Kenny. I was like, well, at least mine are still on their damn teams because you had Kyle Hicks with the Roughnecks, and then the Quinton Flowers news like literally dropped like the second after I pressed the enter button.
Oh no! Oh no!
On that message on the Discord. By the way, if you want to live chat with the show 24/7 basically, but it's really active during game days, you can follow us on Discord. The link is in the description of the video to join the Discord, which it's a lot of fun. So make sure you follow us there. Yeah, we have a good time during game days. But it's just this Tampa Bay team. I don't know, man.
They got to win this week. They got to win.
I would say it's a must.
Oh, it's a must win.
A must win
in a 10-game regular season. This is absolutely a must win. You have an opportunity with DC coming in after taking that whooping in LA. They're on the road again. You don't know how they're going to respond. So you're coming off of a performance which is your best of the season versus right now the best team in the league. And then this happens. I mean, you had SJ Green, who we haven't really talked about much, but if they look to get him on the field, that's a dynamic weapon too. I mean, over 10,000 yards in the CFL. He's a prolific. I mean, look at these catches that SJ Green makes. It's a very Trestman-like type of wide receiver. Reminds me a lot of Alshon Jeffrey, going up and making just ridiculous catches. So you're going to get him into the rotation here along with Truesdell and Dan Williams and Reese Horn and your running back. Like the weapons is not the problem. It's just the freaking quarterback position. And they can't figure it out. It's only going from bad to worse.
Well, hopefully the addition of SJ Green kind of lightens the load a little bit for Cornelius this week, because we know he's starting, and obviously Murray's going to back him up. And Gless talked about that earlier. That's just like a reps issue. I think he'll be back at the starter week after. But hopefully adding SJ Green will kind of open up the field a little bit, give him a little bit more of give him a couple more options, to open up some other room for receivers to run routes for Dan Williams, for Reese Horn. Unfortunately, it looks like Truesdale's probably not going to play again this week.
I saw that. I don't think he practiced. He hadn't practiced all week. I think he's ruled out.
So I think the addition of SJ Green is going to come at the perfect time and kind of give him another dynamic playmaker. And, Cornelius gets another week of first team reps. So we saw the difference that made from week 1 to week 2, or week 2 to week 3. Now we'll see the difference in week 3 to week 4. Who knows, man? Cornelius can come out there and ball out this week.
I'm not sold.
I'm not sold on it.
I don't think it's looking good, personally. I quit anytime, especially if you're in the locker room, right? If one of your most dynamic players just kind of ups and leaves, right? I mean, that's not good for locker room camaraderie and chemistry either. So I don't know, man. They got their work cut out for them this week, anyways.
Too? I'm pretty sure in our last live show we talked about what it said about the Tampa Bay Vipers, that they didn't roll over and give up and they stayed together as a team versus the Roughnecks. And then Quinton Flowers leaves.
And then Quinton Flowers pees out.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on. Tampa Bay is in trouble. We'll see if Cornelius can keep the ship rolling, but it's a must-win.
Keep him afloat.
In a 10-game regular season, you can't go 0-4. You can't go
especially in a division game, too, where the defenders are reeling, so this is your shot to climb back in it.
Right, and then the Battlehawks are rolling. Defenders, if they win this game, they'll go to 3-1, and you go to 0-4. Your season's pretty much over.
It's tough.
A team that's not toast, which we may have thought after week 1 with all the turmoil going on, is the LA Wildcats, who just beat the hell out of the DC Defenders last weekend.
That's right.
Such an impressive performance. But they also have this, I don't know what it is. Is it this curse where they finally have some momentum? They have this amazing performance by Martez Carter. They have, Josh Johnson back. He's playing at a high level. The defense was flying all over the place. The team is clearly rallied around Winston Moss, and now you're losing your number one receiver in Nelson Spruce. All we know is that it's a knee injury. There's been no word whatsoever on how long he's going to be out, but we do know for sure he's not going to be out this week, which is not not a great momentum builder off of what was an awesome win versus the DC Defenders.
Yeah, it's certainly not, but there is a little bit of hope for Wildcat fans because of how well that Trey McBride played last week. So all hope is not lost at the receiver position, but that's certainly a huge blow figuring out how many balls that he's caught literally in the last 3 weeks. I think he's been over 100 yards all three games. So, Josh Johnson's got his, work cut out for him. But again, like I said, they got Trey McBride, who performed really, really well last week, Jordan Smallwood. And Josh Johnson, to be honest with you, the last 5 quarters has been outstanding. Been outstanding getting, we talk about in the show over and over, but getting touchdowns instead of field goals, finding guys in the end zone, being able to get the ball to playmakers in space. So, yeah, it's a big blow to the Wildcats. But here's the other thing, guys. I don't know if you guys remember this last week, but the Wildcats had a lot of guys that were questionable last week. I mean, they had a lot of guys that didn't practice throughout the week, and they came out and just rallied around each other, rallied around Winston Moss, and came out and put on maybe the most dominant performance that we've seen all XFL season. Yeah.
It's really a bummer to see those guys, well, especially Spruce. I mean, look, losing Spruce is big. I mean, he's if not the best receiver in the league, a top 5.
And Brandon Barnes isn't practicing either. I'm pretty sure. I have to recheck that, but I don't think he practiced today. The tight end.
But
Yep.
So it's tough. I mean, that's a lot to replace. And then you finally get something going on the ground with Martez Carter, and now he's questionable. So hopefully he ends up playing because missing Spruce is bad enough. But then to have Martez Carter not play as well would hurt. It wouldn't be devastating. I think Josh Johnson's a good enough quarterback to really throw to anybody. And then you got guys like Adonis Jennings, Jordan Smallwood, Trey McBride, who had his breakout game. So I think they'll be okay, but unfortunately, and I guess luckily they're playing the Guardians. So.
You took my thunder, Kenny. Luckily, they draw the New York Guardians, number 8 on our power rankings. For those listening out, we actually released that earlier today. But they get the luck of the draw by getting the Guardians.
Yeah, Carter Carter hasn't practiced, and he's listed as doubtful. No. So Larry Rose is going to have to carry the load there because we still haven't heard any update on Elijah Hood. It's like they're just dropping like flies in LA. But yeah, it is nice timing in the fact that they're playing a team that is absolutely reeling right now. I don't know if you guys have anything else to say on LA. We can move to New York unless you have something else to say on LA.
I don't.
No, I was going to say at least they're not going to have to put up points. Aren't going to be at a premium for them. So that's one good thing they can fall back on.
Yeah. So McGloin is listed as out. So the question goes to who should start? Marquise Williams, or Luis Perez? Can he go?
Well, yeah.
If you're going to make me decide right now, I'm going to say go with the guy who actually scored a touchdown, who's scored your only offensive touchdown the past 2 weeks, Luis Perez. He went out last week. He had a really efficient drive. He ended up leading them to on a touchdown drive. And Marquise Williams, yes, he's a dual threat. It's kind of shown flashes, but I mean, he didn't really do much in the DC game when he came in. Now, granted, it was mop-up duty, but he didn't do much in the Battlehawks game either. Like, I wasn't sold that he was a must-start. Luis Perez at least looked crisp.
I think it's really tough because the offensive line for New York is in shambles. They ran the ball a little bit in the Battlehawks game, certainly better than they've done the previous 2 weeks, but they have shown little to no ability to protect the quarterback, constantly under pressure all 3 weeks. Part of the reason why Matt McGloin is injured is because they can't protect him. So are you going to throw, a Luis Perez there, which we've talked about in the show? He's not the most mobile guy. Are you going to let Marquise Williams with the potential, with the threat with his legs, potential quarterback designed run game, anything like that to at least alleviate some of the stress on the New York offensive line. I mean, to me, I'd go with Marquise Williams myself, but I wouldn't be shocked if there's a super short leash and they put Luis Perez in there if the game gets out of hand early.
Yeah, I'm not sure you have a good option, but I am not a Marquise Williams guy. Even in his career at UNC, he was above average at best at times. Yeah, Kenny.
Kenny, tell us how you really feel.
Let's not get into that. But in the AAF with the San Antonio Commanders, he couldn't get on the field, just in some mop-up duty. And I just feel like you have to, if McGloin's not playing, you have to go with the upside of Luis Perez. I know that he is going to have issues with pressure coming at him in the pocket.
But there's going to be a lot of pressure too, because LA is so good on defense.
Yeah, like I said, there's no good answer here, but I am curious, and I'm going to pose this to the chat. Even if McGloin was healthy, let's say all three of them were healthy, who would you start out of the three right now? Because McGloin has just been atrocious too, but he is the one with the most NFL experience. He's played in some meaningful NFL games. He's made some good throws in week 1, and he didn't look terrible in week 3. But, he gets injured. Luis Perez is there, who was an allocated quarterback as well. Everyone just keeps talking about this Luis Perez upside, and we saw flashes of it in Birmingham. But even in Birmingham, he got benched for Keith Price. I mean, does that tell you all you need to know right there?
Let's go. Keith Price, let's go.
Someone in the chat said Pastel is chanting Perez from beyond the grave.
We can't confirm or deny that.
Yeah, that's true.
We did talk to Pastel on the phone, a few days ago. So we actually have had contact with him.
We do know he's alive. Yeah.
It's just tough because I think I think New York's like Tampa. I don't think that the quarterback is on the roster that's going to lead them to the playoffs or the title or anything like that. But I think you got our friend of the program, Mike Mitchell, sent out a tweet about an hour ago, and he said that there's no clarity on who's going to be starting as of right now. They don't know. He doesn't know if it's going to be Marquise Williams or Luis Perez. So I guess it's going to be a game time decision.
I think it's a safe bet that you're going to see both of them at some point in this game.
I'd
Probably not for good reason. Probably not for good reasons, is my guess. I think Gilbride is he's looking for something. But like you said, Kenny, I'm not sure that that something's on the roster. People mention JT Barrett. I know, Kenny, you're a big JT Barrett guy, and I'm not sure. I don't think he's doing much right now. I think he's kind of doing what we're doing, just kind of hanging out. But
he's sitting at home.
And I wonder, would the XFL, for maybe Tampa and New York, would they look into bringing in additional quarterbacks? But you would have to go through the filter of the funnel or tunnel of Team 9 first, because you can't bring in players unless they're from Team 9. I believe Joe Callahan is probably the biggest name. I believe Joe Callahan is still on Team 9, so maybe they look at Joe Callahan right now. But if you're the XFL, do you potentially look at reaching out to other guys like a JT Barrett right now who doesn't have a home and still wants to play football?
What week do they absorb all of Team 9 onto the teams? Isn't that like week 5 or 6 that Team 9 eventually absorbs into, like, they disperse all of Team 9 onto the teams?
Honestly, I don't know. If someone in the chat knows, please let me know.
I believe it's like week 6 or week 7, like right around that time frame. They will eventually expand the rosters for the teams, and all of Team 9 gets absorbed into. So be curious to see A, that, and then B, how they make moves post Team 9 absorption.
Yeah, what happened? Do these teams look to make a trade? Because well, I guess you can wait for Brogan Roback to get released.
Yeah,
not to jump ahead, but he seems to be
a good segue. A nice segue.
The XFL journeyman. I want to get this in before, because people are starting to catch on to Kenny's attire for the evening. Kenny's dressed for SportsCenter tonight. Kenny, is there some news that you need to break? Are you up in Bristol, Connecticut, ready to go on set or something? What's the deal with the sports coat?
No, nothing crazy, man. I just had to look good. I had to look good for an event tonight, and so instead of changing, I just kept it on. I felt you look good, you feel good, like Deion Sanders said. You look good, you feel good, you play good.
Okay.
Kenny's crew is loving the sweat. They're loving the swag right now. Yeah, get them Google ads going, baby.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
All right, let's go ahead and move to Dallas then. So the Eric Dungey situation, which is a sad one. I mean, man, Kenny, I know how much you like Eric Dungey, and it's just like ever since he signed with the XFL, he just can't catch a break. Like, he gets injured literally his first day with the Renegades. He's out for weeks, comes back, leaves the team, comes back, leaves the team again for personal reasons. I believe his father passed away. Is that correct?
Yeah, the report is terrible.
Yeah, terrible situation. Good. Yeah, and now they bring in Brogan Rowe back for the second time. We're assuming that Eric Dungey's going to come back, but maybe Brogan Roback's a guy that New York or Tampa looks to bring in. I'm not sure if he solves your issue by any means, but at this point, you're just kind of throwing darts at the dartboard and seeing what sticks. But yeah, we hope Eric Dungey comes back soon. But there's a ton of transactions going on in Dallas. Glessner, your boy, Alohi Kaka.
I know.
I believe he had a sack, and now he's retiring.
He did, man. He's had 4 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 2 quarterback hits, and a sack. And then I guess that he was riding out into the sunset after his sack against Seattle.
It's not going to get better than this, so I'm just riding.
I would say that this is. I get a sack back where I played college. I'm good. Yeah, it's actually kind of a sad story. He's had 3. I think he's had 3 ACL tears in his career, dating back to his time at UW. He had 2 in the NFL. He played with the Saints, played with a couple other, and he just couldn't stay healthy. So to me, this screams, I just physically can't do it anymore. I don't know that as like that's not confirmed. The only thing that we know is that he quote unquote retired. So he flat out just walked in and said, you know what, I'm retiring from the game of football. And my guess is it's a physical thing. That he just physically couldn't take the punishment anymore.
The second retirement for the Renegades.
Yeah.
Ryan Broyles before the season retired from football. So that's the second loss for the Renegades. So, and that's a big one because, like you said, Gless, he was one of the anchors on that defense.
Defensive line, yep.
Yeah. And
but,
then, go ahead, Kenny.
Professional football is tough, man. It's just, I had the unique privilege to actually watch some of this stuff, like watch a pro football game from the sidelines a little bit this year. And dude, how those guys play more than 2 or 3 years blows my mind. So, it's just that's the life of a professional football player, man. And yeah, it might have looked like he could still hang, but these guys are in so much pain weekly during the season that, at some point it's just too much and you just got to, sometimes you just can't handle it anymore.
Well, we wish him the best, man.
You got to weigh your options.
Yeah. We wish him the best. I mean, he was a heck of a player in college. He gave his best shot in the NFL and then tried the XFL. And to your point, Kenny, sometimes enough's enough. This is all I got because it's such a physical game at the professional level.
Yeah, and then they addressed their wide receiver situation as well, bringing in Armani Edwards, who, for our football fans out there, our college football fans, you probably remember him as a quarterback for Appalachian State, if I'm not mistaken, when they went into the Big House and beat Michigan. And then I believe we saw him, I don't know if you guys were with me with Pastel when we saw him play JMU, because they were, especially back then, they were rivals. They were both top 5 in the country. And then I believe it was by far the biggest game that JMU had up until that point. This is before the national championships. But Armani Edwards and App State came into Harrisonburg. So he's a prolific NCAA quarterback, transitioned to receiver in the CFL, has had a very successful last year, and now he comes down to the Renegades. And guys, the Renegades, the rushing attack has been extremely impressive, especially in the second half of games. But I will say overall, if there's something to point at on this offense that's been a disappointment so far, and this is tough for me to say, being a Jazz Ferguson fan.
That's right.
But the wide receivers have not performed, other than Parham, who's tight end. Other than him, Jeff Badette has not really shown up. Jazz Ferguson definitely hasn't shown up. They've had guys, here and there kind of step up in spurts, but no one has been that consistent go-to guy on the outside. So I wonder if Armani Edwards can fill that void and really bring some life into this Renegades wide receiver core.
Yeah, I mean it. I mean you kind of hit the nail right on the head. They've been running the ball fantastic, and that's kind of been their saving grace. Is that they've been the best really rushing team the last 3 weeks of the XFL season. So if they can if Armani Edwards can come in and provide a spark offensively and really open up the passing offense for Landry, that's going to be an absolute boom for Dallas. I mean, you're already running the ball fantastic as it is. Now you're going to be able to prevent teams from stacking the box because Armani Edwards comes in and balls out. Like this could be a season changing pickup. I don't want to make it. I don't want to overhype it. I don't want to over deliver and under promise, but just to have a guy on the team who can be dynamic and who can really pick up that wide receiver core is going to do wonders for not only Landry but for an already established and great running team.
Yeah, I my opinion of the Dallas receiving core is there's really not much of a Dallas receiving core. I mean, they're all short, intermediate routes. They're throwing a ton to the running backs out of the backfield with Dunbar and Cameron Artis-Payne. Donald Parham has been incredible, and I think he'll more than likely be on an NFL roster next year with his size. But from the actual receiver position, the production just simply hasn't been there. Fagel's been okay, but again, they're these short and kind of intermediate routes, and then occasionally they'll get a guy down the field. So I'm really hoping the Armani Edwards signing allows Dallas to go down the field a little bit more instead of kind of dinking and dunking and 5 yards here, 10 yards here. I'm kind of hoping that he brings that 20, 30, 40-yard play back into the Dallas playbook, which we've seen spurts of it in the last 2 second halves, but if they can establish that down the field threat, man, they're going to be extremely scary.
Because right now, if you think of their biggest receiving threats, it's probably their tight ends at this point. I mean, Nagel had a good game last week, but Parham and Price have been kind of their go-to guys, especially over the middle. So to complement a running game with Artis-Payne, who is averaging over 6 yards a carry. I mean, he's looking like a stud out there. There's running backs that are getting a lot of volume, but not necessarily doing much with the volume. But Artis-Payne is making the most of his opportunities, especially in the second half. And it's taking Landry Jones a while to kind of get into the flow, into the rhythm of a game. And I feel like that's a lot to do with his receivers, because if you're watching the games, these receivers aren't getting separation. And it's really making it tough on Landry Jones to hit those, those quick windows that are closing, very fast, especially downfield. They just have no aerial attack over 10 yards down the field right now. They've hit a few here and there with Crockett, but that's really about it.
Yeah, well, out of their receiver position, they don't. Again, Donald Parham has kind of filled that spot for now.
But those aren't over the top, though. Those are him kind of, getting, cutting across the field or getting into the seam.
Getting into the seams, yeah.
But they don't have that over-the-top guy. And then, I mean, Lance Dunbar's probably been more of a threat at the receiver position than most of their receivers, too. They've been getting him involved a lot in the screen game and whatnot. So, I mean, they have some good weapons there, but they haven't had that one consistent guy on the outside to really take the top off of a defense.
And it's only going to take one guy to really open up this offense. I mean, if Armani Edwards ends up being that guy, and you've got Parham in the middle, and you've got Armani taking the top off the defense, and now you got guys like Badette and Nagel and all these guys working the underneath routes and mid routes and everything. That's all it's going to do. Is it's just going to take. It just needs one guy to step up and be like, I'm the number one receiver, and then this offense just explodes to the next level. Because we're already seeing glimpses of it now, but it's not quite firing on all cylinders. If Edwards comes in and becomes that eighth cylinder, watch out west.
Yeah.
John Carlos is eviscerating you, Kenny, in the chat. He's asking where your Rob Lowe hat is tonight. People are so intrigued by your style, my man.
My Rob Lowe hat and Guy Fieri and Rob Lowe are like they've consumed me now, because Guy Fieri posted an Instagram picture.
You think they're fans of Chalk Talk and they're emulating you?
No, I'm telling you right now.
I bet that's what it is.
Our goal needs to be to get one of those two guys on the show, Rob Lowe or Guy Fieri, like Mayor of Flavortown or Wayne's World himself, Mr. Rob Lowe. Get one of the two on here.
Hey, man, Rob Lowe used to be a spokesperson for my employer, so I'll see if I can hook that up.
You got some connections there.
I got some connections.
Hey, look,
I also-
if the worst thing is of me getting the worst thing that happens to me is I get compared to Rob Lowe, I'll take that any day of the week.
Yeah.
So
I agree with you, William Philippi. Sorry if I said your name wrong. I still have hope for Jazz as well. I'm not going to give up on him. Not yet. I can't. I've hyped him up too much to jump off the train for Jazz Ferguson.
You have. You've been on that train early.
Something that I forgot to mention when we were talking about New York, which may help a little bit, is they're getting Tanner Gentry back, which is a huge plus at the receiver position. But I don't know if their problem's been their receivers. I mean, we talked about this after week 1. I mean, they have some depth there with Pearson and Teo Redding. Yeah, your boy Pearson.
my boy Austin Duke.
Austin Duke. Yeah, Austin Duke's been a playmaker, man.
Yeah,
Scored
he's
a
been good.
touchdown last week. Yeah.
Yeah, so they have depth at the receiver position. So getting Gentry back obviously helps you, but it's a lot like Tampa Bay. It's not necessarily the weapons, it's getting the ball to the weapons.
Yeah.
People are just chiming in with so many names here, and I'm not really sure off the top, like, yeah, Gilbert's with the Browns. Like, people are just John Wolford. Yeah. Is John Wolford, is he with the Titans, or was that Logan Woodside?
Wolford's with the Rams. He's on the practice squad for the Rams.
Oh yes, Wolford's with the Rams.
Right. I would love for John Wolford to be in this league. Are you kidding me? Like, Wake Forest guy at quarterback. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was probably the second most consistent quarterback in the AAF behind Gilbert. Yeah, Nathan Peterman, Ryan Mallett. I mean, we have some slim pickings here, fellas.
If we're going that far into the depth, man, that's deep into the trash. I can tell you that. I don't think anybody would see 5-pick Pete playing in the XFL.
5-pick Pete. Yeah, I mean, it just shows you I think the talent level across the board for these teams is pretty impressive. I think the league has done a good job. I think these coaches / GMs have done a good job in terms of evaluating and bringing in talent. I mean, you saw it with Tampa Bay versus Houston. Pretty even on the field. There was no blowout there, but the quarterback position is what's going to put you over the top. It's going to make you or break you, and you're seeing the teams that have solid quarterback play. Houston, LA now that Josh Johnson's back. St. Louis with Tamu has been steady at quarterback. As long as you have steady consistency at your quarterback position, you're in good shape. And the teams that have had inconsistent play, to put it nicely,
that's right,
have been the teams that have struggled.
Yeah.
I mean, when McGloin played, somewhat consistent in their first game, they hit a few big plays. Defense had the pressure taken off them and were able to really pin their ears back, and the secondary was able to be aggressive and get right up on the receivers and really bump and run with them and make some plays. But right now, situations like in New York and Tampa where the defense has also been susceptible to giving up big plays, it's because you're on the field constantly. There's so much pressure on you because you got to get the ball back. You can't let them score because your offense is not reliable to go toe-to-toe back and forth. So it really creates, when your quarterback position is in flux, it creates chaos for the rest of your team. It's like a snowball effect.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, he's the most important player on the field, and he really dictates everything that you have to do on offense. I mean, it's half the game on offense is being able to throw the ball and find the open receiver and understand the playbook and get all the line calls and all that kind of stuff. And when that is not going well, that puts on a huge burden on everybody else on the team, especially the defense, to go out there and keep your team in the game when, hey, it's 3 and out. It's like, holy crap, man, can we get something going on offense? So I'm not tiring out here by the middle of the third quarter.
Hey, screw you, Allen. I'm not a bandwagon fan. I knew you were going to say that. I think he's a part of Kenny's crew. I think he's the guy that I got into it with.
I called you a bandwagon jumper earlier today. I love it.
Oh, that's where Allen's getting it from. Oh, what? Because I said a quarterback is playing good, I'm a bandwagon fan now?
Just unbelievable.
Unbelievable. A different team every week for Riley.
It's getting joned. Getting joned on.
I've jumped off of DC. Cardell. I've never said he's good. What are you talking about, Kenny?
Yeah.
Kenny Kenny's when Cardell threw, what was it, 4 picks? All we got a text was Kenny was vindication. It's like, dude, it's one game. Like, you had Matt McGloin as like your 4th ranked quarterback going into the season, so you can't like pick and choose. You can't pick and choose which,
4th, not 1st, just for the record. I don't want everything like, oh, yeah, I use upper half. What's weird though with McGloin is he's literally played better in the NFL than he's played in the XFL. Like, it's kind of weird. It's
so odd. It's so odd.
I love this feud I have going on with Alan. He's like, why? Screw you, Alan, man. I am no bandwagon fan. I call it how it is. That's all this is.
I love it.
God.
Just Kenny's crew representing in the chat always. We're always around.
Yeah, they're especially loud on the Discord. So make sure you follow us on Discord. We need more non-Kenny's crew people. It was funny when we did our pregame show at DC for the first game versus the Seattle Dragons. We had he was like 18, 19-year-old kid came with his father all the way to see our show. He's a big fan, and we really appreciate that. That was awesome. And, I was taking a picture with him, and I was like, so are you a part of Kenny's crew or what? He's like, no, hell no, man. Screw Kenny. I wish I
would have heard that.
Kenny.
I wish I would have heard that because I would have liked to talk to the kid, man. I'd have been like, I would have converted him into a Kenny's crew fan.
Well, I think DC fans just think you're really salty against DC and Cardell Jones. So it's like you kind of go into enemy territory whenever we go
in my backyard.
Whenever we go to Audi Field.
Which is my backyard.
I'm about to say that's right where you live. Yeah.
But as a show, we're kind of mapping out what we want to do, and we don't have any official plans yet, but we really want to get to some different locations. Like, I would love to get up to New York, guys. I don't know if we would do a pregame show up there or just maybe host some type of tailgate or something with the fans. I know we were thinking about the New York-Houston game. I mean, none of this is official yet, but we really want to get to some different venues. I'm so pissed that I had to miss the St. Louis home opener last weekend versus the Guardians. That place looked so much fun. The tailgating was great because the one thing about Audi Field is like it's a metro. There's no area to tailgate. Like, everyone kind of goes to bars and then they disperse from the bars and go to the game. There's no like parking lots Audi Field owns where people can tailgate like a traditional football game. So I know in New York they have some tailgating there. St. Louis, maybe we can make it down to Tampa. I know maybe Pastel can make it to Tampa since he's down in that neck of the woods. But
he's only like 2 hours away.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get to some of these other venues and meet the fans and talk with XFL fans and just kind of get a different atmosphere. I mean, it's convenient, and Audi Field is such a great setup for XFL, but it would be nice if we were able to get to other spots as well. So, follow us along at XFL Chalk Talk. We'll keep you posted. We have a lot of things going on behind the scenes right now. Some potentially exciting things on the horizon for the show. And I mean, what can I say? We're busy. We're freaking grinding here, guys.
Grinding. Dude, I feel like one of the players, fellas. Like, during the season, you're starting to get close to the midway. It's a grind, brother. Yeah. It's sitting there. You're like, man, oof. Another week gone by. I mean, but before we know it, fellas, we'll blink our eyes and championship weekend will be here.
It's crazy because our show has been.
I definitely want to be in Houston for the championship game for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah,
we have to
for sure.
We got to, but yeah, I mean, thank you to everybody who's followed along with us from day one. We started this back in July. The planning of it, launched the show in October, and it's just crazy that we're going into week 4 already. Right after this, we're going to record our preview for week number 4 and give our picks and everything like that. That's going to premiere on Saturday morning, so be on the lookout for that. Follow our social media accounts. We're at XFL Chalk Talk on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course YouTube. And if you're here, you might as well subscribe. I mean, come on, you want to do it. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get the latest content from the show. And then join us on the Discord, especially on game days, because it's a lot of fun chatting with you guys, even the annoying ones, even the Kenny's crew people out there. Right. It's fun chatting with you as well. I love the back and forth and the the playful banter that goes on there.
So
make sure you follow us on Discord.
Jealousy.
All right, so be on the lookout for our video coming out where we preview week 4 and give our picks. That's going to be on Saturday morning. Check us out on social media at XFLChalkTalk.com as well. For Glessner and Kenny, I'm Riley. Thank you all so much for joining us. We'll see you next time. Until then, we're ready for some football, guys. Only a few days away before week 4. I can't believe it. It's coming so fast. All right, guys, we'll see you next time.